Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wake Up with Rachel and Anthony. I'm going to do some sharing. Talk to me about how you're doing. Okay, I'm going to see if Anthony is going to pop on. If you're watching on the replay, come and say hi. I love when I can come and say hi to new people I haven't met yet. So let's talk about today. How's everybody? How was your weekend? It's already Tuesday. I don't even know how that happened to me. That it's already Tuesday. That was fast. The weeks go by so fast, right? We're going to talk about today, there are several ways to put this. I always like to say how allowing things to unfold. Another way to say it, which I've written down, is allowing the flow. Okay? Allowing things to unfold and what that entails, what that means, and how it kind of overflows into so many other things. Okay? So many other subjects, topics in our lives. So I'm hoping that Anthony will pop on here in any moment and he can join the conversation. I cannot see who is on, so if you would please comment so I can see who's here, that would be great. That would be really, really awesome. And in the meantime, I'm going to go with this topic and see when Anthony pops on. All right, you guys, we did have to change the day. Why? And another, why does this topic come to me, right? To do this topic right now? Because that's how the whole week, right? Here is, from Sunday, how just intending with no exact planning has just amazed me again, right? Every time, it amazes me every time. So a really good example of that is today. I had told my youngest daughter that we were going to go to the mall and do some things that we needed to get done and that she wanted to do, okay, because she had been really itchy lately, her skin, and I had just read about how some gluten sensitivities are manifested by being really itchy, and so I told her to stop eating gluten for a little while. So she has stopped and the itching has stopped. So we were going to the store to get her some gluten-free food, and we're just kind of letting that journey unfold. And we ended up leaving late because, of course, we're just letting things unfold. And I knew by the time that we had left, we would have 3 good hours. And that would be, that would be good. And I had visualized it. I had, this no pushing policy, right? There's no, as my bestie puts it, no yugging. There will be no yugging, which means there's no pushing against anything. So if I have 3 hours and I know ahead of time that I have those 3 hours and there's so many things that we're going to do. Hi, Art. How's it going, darling? There's so many things that we're going to do. So also on the way, I said, okay, we're doing these things and we want to, do those things by this amount of time. And then we're going to, and then that was it. While we were driving there, I just left it there. And neither of us were looking at our phones or our watches or anything. By the time we were done with the things that we needed to do, hi, Deborah, how's it going, love? When we were done doing the things that we had to do, I did look at my watch and it was 2:30 and it was exactly the time that I had said before, we get all that stuff done, we have lunch by 2:30, and that's exactly how it unfolded. But there was no, looking at my watch, oh my gosh, we got to go, we're not going to have time, we got to get there done, do that. No, No. And I knew that whatever time it was when I looked at my watch, it was fine. It was totally fine, right? Like, the sky is not going to fall. Schedules are not going to, lash back out at you, right? It's like we do that to ourselves in our minds. We do that to ourselves. We need to stop doing that to ourselves, right? Because it raises our stress level. It raises the cortisone. It makes us feel like crap. It gives us emotional hangovers. It lowers our immune system. The list goes on and on and on, right? So we don't want to do that. We want to practice the no yug policy, okay? There will be none. Hi, Art. How's it going? How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Tell me. Ask me something. Let's get a dialogue going here about something else, right? Something about this subject. So there was no yugging whatsoever. And, we had a great lunch, a really nice lunch, and by the time we got up to go, we just were, she had her arm around me and we were like laughing. And it was just this time that we had where neither of us were going to be looking at our phones or worried about the time, even though there was, in the 3D schedule, there was a time thing. But when you make something a non-issue, okay, and you just undo it, like untime, right? Okay, there's a time, but it's untime. I'm not making an issue. And here's a really key thing to remember while you're practicing this, is that if you are trying to make something an unthing, like the untime, okay, then if you're constantly talking about it, then you are not undoing it, okay? You're talking about it, it's in your vibration, it's something that is coming back to you all the time. But when you practice making it a non or an unthing, okay, and all of a sudden you just kind of notice like, oh my God, I wasn't even, like, it'll happen and be like, oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that. Yes, exactly, because you make it an unthing. Okay, and I love the story of, when I first met my husband, I was like out of a very toxic narcissistic relationship. Sorry about that. I had to start all over from zero, okay, from nothing. So while I was doing that, and I did do that successfully, right? I did do that. I was, I lost my train of thought. Does it ever happen to you? I was getting out of the relationship and I was making my way back to the top. And when I met my husband, it was the furthest thing from my mind. I was just with my friends, I was working, I was taking care of all the business, paying all the bills, doing all the things, and feeling so good about myself and so abundant and so oblivious to all of what I know now, because this was back when I was like 26, 27, years ago. And do the moment, Deborah. So, it's like when you are so concerned about yourself and so concerned about, for me, it was for my baby, right? It was for so concerned with what you've got going on. And then you get into this flow of things and everything is, and all these things are happening and you're feeling so abundant and I was feeling so good. And then bam, there he was, right? And when I look back in retrospect, right, it's 2020, it's like, of course that happened. Of course that happened. And I teach people every day how to get there, right? To get to that place where you are so sure-footed and confident and everything's working out. And it's just like, when is my relationship coming? I'm never going to meet him. I'm never going to meet her. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen because it's not a non-issue. It is the issue. It's like right in your, right here, right in your frontal cortex, right there, right? And when we do that, it's a frontal lobe. I'm sorry, I had my brain parts mixed up. In your frontal lobe, that's where it's like, it's right there. you want to not have it right there. Okay? It can be like your intention. My intention along the way was to be, financially independent and be able to live in a nice place and pay all my bills and take care of my child. At that point I was like, no marriage, no more kids. This is not for me. Okay, I'm going to take care and make the best of everything that I have here, of my life and this little girl, and that was all. That was it. A relationship, nowhere to be found, right? That was so far away from me. And so my point is, you don't have to be in a bad situation where things aren't working out for you and something dramatic happened like it happened for me, right? And that's what I try to teach people. And I want people to understand, you don't have to hit rock bottom to go, oh, there's another way. Okay? And that's, I don't like to see people, be at the bottom and feel so bad on themselves and throw them a rope and have them, climb up. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I love that, to be able to do that. I just want people to know that you don't have to be, at the bottom, as they say, or like fall so far in order to have like a realization that you can rise up now. You don't have to fall to get that bounce. I did. No one was around to tell me different. No one was around to tell me different. No one was around to tell me what I'm telling you, where I was. No one. So when I say I've been there, that's because I feel like I'm too close to this table. Okay. Because I've been there. Because I know what it feels like to be at the bottom of the barrel, under the slime and under the grunge, and then it's like the crap of the grunge. And then there's like a whole other, plate of crap, and then more sludge under there. Like, that's where I was. Like, I was lost, alone, not getting, there wasn't Facebook like this, groups and all of that back then. It's just, it's amazing to me. So when I did wake up and see The Secret, I immediately went public with it. I immediately went on the sharing thing because I knew that I always just had this intuitive feeling that I was not the only person going through this. But I didn't know where to find other people that were, or somebody that would, throw me a freaking bone. I used to say that all the time, like, throw me a bone. Like, what is going on? It was like, as soon as I thought things couldn't get any shittier, they just got shittier. And like, I look at it now like, duh. Because I was looking at my shittiness and I was like, this sucks and everything sucks and da-da-da-da. And I felt so bad and I was emoting the living shit out of it, okay? It was like everywhere. And that's all I was getting back. I was just getting it back and getting it back, and everything got shittier and something else happened and something else happened. And then I don't know if it was my angels just kind of coming down on me with a hammer. But I felt this one day feeling, and I'll never forget it. I just felt like this pity party has gone on long enough. Okay, life sucks. It sucks. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Go get a better job. Go get a better job. That's all I would hear was, go get a better job. Go get a better job. And, I get migraines since I was 12 years old. So when I get a constant thing in my head like that, it gives me a headache. It feels like a gong in my head. And I learned how, all these techniques to like calm that and fix that and all of that. But back then I did not. So it was just like gong and this happened and gong. And so I'm hearing, get a different job. So I went into work one day, and my boss, who was the most opposite person of who I am. She was just very unhappy in her life. Now I see it. Before I just thought that she was a bitch. She's just like this evil, horrible. I can't even believe that I'm like, she is in my life, which made perfect sense because my life was shitty and horrible in my eyes. That was I was attracting. I was mirroring the shit that I was putting out from her. And she was attracted to me because we were just on the exact same frequency, coming from two different sides on the same frequency. And one day I walked into her office with her files to give her her files, and she said something evil to me. She was like, you can't be in here. You can't be in here now or whatever. And I was her personal assistant, so I had to be in there. You know how personal assistants are with the bosses. I had to go in there and bring her stuff and come out and I did everything in English, and everything was, was on me. And she put me in the corner. It was just this very bizarre. And so I walked in. She said something really evil to me. I was holding the files. I was holding all kinds of, and I just threw it at her, and along with an F-bomb. Okay, now I'm a single mom. I have no car. I have no other income. But my inner being, I didn't even know what it was, just took over and was like, if you don't know your worth, I'm gonna take you on autopilot. And I remember throwing those files and grabbing my things and walking to the bus stop and taking the bus for the 2-hour bus ride home. Okay. And I was weeping the entire time. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have, anyone to get on there and, make a TikTok crying or get on a Facebook Live and be like, and get some sympathy, that would have been I'm sure I would have been all over that back then at the time. Okay. So I go home and I'm crying. I don't know what I'm going to do. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to pay for daycare. I don't know how I'm going to pay for rent. I don't know how I'm going to do anything. And I'm living, I wasn't living in a great apartment at the time. Anyway, I went home. I had a breakdown. And when I came to, I went back to the office to collect my things and I had to give a resignation letter and they, whatever. And as I was in the elevator, one of the clients had come to me and said, we would love for you to come work for us. And I said, I'm sure there's something in my contract that says, a non-competition that I can't go and work for you. So when I got off at the floor, one of the other humans that worked in another, I'm getting all emotional, that worked in another floor. I was in marketing, they were in import, I think the floor that he was on. And he was like, listen, Rachel, I just spoke with such and such, and they really want you to go and work for them. And I think it would be really beneficial for you. They're great, and they like you, and you like them, and it's all good. And he's like, there's something in your contract that says, you can't work for other people. I got that. He's like, it's not like you're going to go, give corporate secrets or something like that. It wasn't anything like that. So he took care of it for me. And I went to the interview, which wasn't as much of an interview as it was an introduction to what I would be doing. And it was double my pay, half my hours. And the emotional hangover that I had with me, because I lost it for about 3 days. Okay, I literally, I paralyzed. I couldn't move. I had no idea what I was going to do. None. But I did know that I needed to go back to the office to go get my stuff, because I had stuff there, and there was things, I had to do there, and I was prepared emotionally, I guess. Now looking back, I was like, no. But as much as I could back then. And everything worked out so well, okay? And if I had had that faith and that trust while I was going through those 3 horrific days for me, I wouldn't have had such an emotional hangover. It wouldn't have been so emotional. It would have been more of, I know everything's working. I know this is really like, oh my God, what the fuck did you just do? But it wouldn't have been the weeping, shaking, rocking in the corner basket case that I was. Okay, there's a huge difference. And so that's what I mean by you don't have to go to that awful, dark, whatever place it is for you. That doesn't have to happen. You can know now that everything is going to be okay, no matter what comes at you. And that's what we strive for. That's what I want. Okay, that's where I stand. That's where my clients stand. And that's where I want other people to stand, in a place where I know that whatever comes at me, I'm going to be okay. That's the emotion, that's the feeling, that's the surefootness that you want. What I think about it now, and I get really emotional because I was so not there then, that 25, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old. Okay, I was introduced to the law of attraction by law of attraction in 2006. And this was back in 1997, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it's way, it's like, for me, like the 90s were like 20 years, or the 80s were like 20 years ago. So it was like the 2000s were like a couple of years ago. So, it's like, because it gets to be kind of bizarre, right? Like, oh my God, like, let me think. Like, it was like, I was 27 and I'm 50 now. It's like, okay, that was like quarter of a century or so ago. And I feel the same inside. That's the thing. We feel the same inside, right? I know I do. I feel exactly the same. I can revert back to that little girl who was like scared to say anything. That little girl that would, talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk just about nothing, just because I was so scared that nobody heard me, right? So talk, 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 talk. If you know a child that talks a lot and a lot about nothing, and even about something, I was about nothing most of the time from what I remember, take them aside and just, say, I hear you. What do you want to tell me? Right? And that can really change things for that child, right? Because we don't know how another one feels. We don't know how that child feels. I know how I felt. And I felt as an empath, and a major empath, and not knowing that I was an empath, the feelings that I would feel, I thought were this horrible thing. And it turns out to be such a blessing because I remember it now. And I can help other people now. And I can see a child and I can feel that child isn't being heard. Doesn't feel loved. That child needs something. Every human child, every human adult, they do something because of something else. Something that happened, something that in their subconscious, something they remember, don't remember. It doesn't matter, okay? But we're all doing it. And I'm doing this because I know how I don't like to say suffered, but back then I would have said suffered. So when I see that, or I feel that, I'm drawn to share, to help that person. I've been scrolling on social media, and I get people that slide into my DMs all the time, and ask me questions, and I get a lot of clients that way, right? But I've gone into other people's DMs while on social media and seen some of their posts and gone into their DMs and said, "Are you okay? I see you. You're hurting. I'm here." Okay, I do pro bono this way. I call it for myself, right? Because if I'm seeing somebody that is suffering, like I was, not maybe the same story, not that, but the energy is the same, I cannot help but, and never once has somebody said to me, who do you think you are? You know, you're coming to me. No, never. You know, it's always been, I think the most appreciative, I guess I would say, the most grateful would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And the least, I guess, would be like, I'm just not really ready to talk about it. And then they come back a couple weeks later, a couple days later. But just knowing that there's an option when you feel like you have no choices, which is how I felt. Thank you, Art. Yeah, it's heartfelt. True story. The truest stories are the best ones. You feel it in your heart. And I can't in all my days, see somebody that is suffering, and not only suffering, but there's a very big difference between somebody that is pissing and moaning online, and we all see them and we all know them, just complaining, just pissing and moaning, and somebody that is really like feels like there's no hand coming out to reach them. And when they feel that hand and they see that message from me, that I see you and you're there and I want to help you, then it really does something. It's like it makes a change. So it's important. So don't think that the little things that you don't make a big difference to people that really need it. Okay, there is a very big difference. So I just want to throw that out there. So this whole subject, if you're just jumping on the replay, come and say hi, was about allowing the flow and how it overflows into other subjects in your life. And the stories that I told, about when I look back, I'm like throwing like this, everything with me is with my hands, right? When I look back into my past and I see the things that I went through but let's say it like this, okay? I sit here now, right? 50-year-old Rachel, right? I've gone through, abandonment. I've gone through migraines. I've gone through homelessness. I've gone through, narcissism. We all have our things, and okay. I'm not going to wallow in that. It's kind of like, so what? What are you going to do with it? And I never understood what people meant when I was younger, when they would say something like that. Like, okay, this is where you are. What are you going to do with it? I'd be like, well, what do you mean what am I going to do with it? Right? Because I was too young. I didn't have enough things to do with, right? So if I'm sitting here now as 50-year-old Rachel and I'm looking back on all those things that I went through, that I suffered through at the time, which I did, I count them as blessings now. Blessings. I'm so grateful for all of that crap, because I wouldn't be able to sit here now. I wouldn't be able to say to you what I'm saying to you now. And I'm grateful that I didn't give up, because, I almost did more than once. And I didn't. I'm trying to remember, how a lot of people have like a coach or a teacher or a friend or somebody that's like their cheerleader and they're cheering you on when like things aren't working out when you're at school or whatever. And I never had that. That never happened to me. I had to learn that I was going to be my own hero. I needed to learn to be my own cheerleader, so I can cheer other people on, so I can help other people. And yes, I do it as a business, and yes, I do it also pro bono, and yes, I also do this, and yes, and I fill myself up with it, and I give it, and it does, I do use it also for a business, because if somebody wants to go really deep into something and dig stuff out, that takes a lot of energy. I do a lot of energy work and a lot of meditation and a lot of, picking cards. I haven't been doing that online, but I might start doing it just a little, okay? And I've really, I always, in the past, since 2006, I've been cultivating my intuition, and it is really coming out. So I really want to, I say really a lot. I need to stop doing that. I really need to stop doing that. I think it's just the passion. I want to be, very, not really now, it's very. I'm very enthusiastic. I'm enthusiastic about it. So I'm sure you can feel that in my energy. It just comes out with my words as well. And a lot of times when I'm talking, it's just coming through, and it goes by so fast that sometimes I trip over my tongue. So, what? So I'm doing it actually the very, 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 really best that I know how. Aren't you laughing at me? Thank you. You're a blessing too. It's all this. I see it as, my whole life behind me, right? Here's where I am right now. And then this is like my life, all of the years before where I am right now, and all of that time. And from all of that, there are certain points, right, that stick out, right, that are like in bold, right? They stick out through our lifetime. And those are the things that I learned the most from. They're mostly all like very things that happened, right? And it's cool. There are some really happy moments in there as well. So I learned how to take all of that and turn it into, all good stuff. All good stuff. And when you can take the shit that's happened to you in your life and turn around one day and say, I'm really grateful for that. That was actually a blessing. So now we're getting somewhere. Right? Now we're moving along in there. Okay, you guys, I am talking for way, way much longer than I had anticipated, but it's all good. Does anybody have any questions or anything? I see that Anthony, he must have, I don't know, he's going with his flow. It's all good. When there's no yugging and it's all just unflowing like that, it's all good. Just like there was no yugging, no pushing, no resistance through the first part of my day. If you, just coming on, you can go back on the replay and I'll tell you, you'll hear about the first part of my day and how there was no yugging and no pushing, no resisting and just unfolding. It's the same. It's the same. And it's all working out. It's okay, right? So that's what I want you to understand. When we have an expectation of something, yes, absolutely, Deborah, divine time, absolutely. And we have to have, that faith in that divine time. And the things unfold so perfectly. And when we try to push them or we add resistance to them and we do all of that stuff, we're screwing up. We're making it longer for us to align with it. We're like sticking pokes in the spokes. This is my tongue tripping over itself again. Thank you, Deborah. It's cool to get to know you better too. I mean, I love these. I think there be more back and forth with these. It's still laughing at me. I love it. So we just, when you let things unfold, when you have expectations, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this today. I'm doing this at noon. I'm doing this at 1. I'm doing this at 2. I'm doing this at 5, and I have to be there at 7. And that's it. And now, okay, so I'm going along, and I've got these in my stomach, and I'm trying to get through everything, and and oh my God, it's 20 minutes. I don't have enough time. And that didn't really turn out very well. And now I'm on to the second thing, and now I'm doing this, and I'm stressing because I'm worried about when I'm going to get to the next thing, and and you start to just kind of lose it altogether, right? You're further away than you were to accomplishing everything you wanted to accomplish before you even got started. You're like further away from it from when you started, right? It's like, let's not do that. Let's kind of take that part out of the equation, okay? And when we know that we have things to do at certain times on certain days, we're going to pre-pave that. Okay, we're gonna pre-pave it. We're gonna get ready for it. And how are we gonna get ready for it? We're gonna get ready for it energetically. I know. Or get ready for it energetically. So when you're doing it energetically, you're like in the morning before I even get out of bed, I do this meditation, and I just watch my day unfold. I know what's on my schedule. I looked before the day. I know what's on my schedule. Hi, bye, darling. Are you leaving? Yeah. Okay. So I knew it was on my schedule before. Just very lightly, just kind of sprinkle it in there. So when I'm doing this meditation, I know, how my day is going to unfold, and I can visualize myself going through the things and trusting my internal timer. I mean, we have to have trust in ourselves. Okay? Bye, my love.
Bye.
Have a good time. You have money? Cool. Bye, my love.
Bye.
Why, when you ask your kid if he has money and he says, yes, I don't need any, parent win. Where was I? So I visualize it, and I just see myself going through the things and trusting my internal timer. And yes, I watch it. I watch it in my mind, in my visualization. I watch it. Okay. So once we do it already energetically, we can kind of put away the actual watch, right? We can begin to do little things every day, these little practices that cultivate our intuition. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm giving so much. I'm probably like overbearing everybody. You're laughing with me. Thank you. Exactly. You're further away from it. Do it energetically, internal time. Exactly, Deborah. Exactly. I mean, that's it. I mean, and sometimes it just feels like so like matter of fact. But I have a bestie that tells me all the time, like, Rachel, it's matter of fact, but for the rest of the world, it could use some, explaining or whatever, and I get it. I'm going to tell you one more quick story. Yesterday, I was in Tel Aviv, and I had an appointment, and I was early, and then they pushed me back 15 minutes. So there was a store that I wanted to go into. So I went in, and I found a couple shirts for my husband, and I was standing in line, and there was a woman in front of me. And I went to go check out the socks or something. And when I came back, there was another woman in front of me. And I had seen that they were together. So I had said, oh, here you are, standing with your friend. And I was, me. I'm the same. And she kind of looked at me and she was like, is there a problem? And I was like, no, there's no problem. And she's like, I was with her. I'm here. I was like, I know, it's all good. I'm agreeing with you. It's all good. Like, I don't even know why I said I'm agreeing with you. She was like, she was coming at me. And I was like, I'm agreeing with you. All is well. And she was like, okay, right? She just immediately expected that I was coming at her. And I don't come at anybody. It was like somebody, did she miss the memo? So while I was paying, the guy that was ringing me up, he's like, do you have a membership here? And I was like, no. Come to find out my husband did, but I didn't know that. I'd never been to that store. And the woman and I was like, he's like, well, it'll cost you, it was the equivalent of about $15 to get it. And then you get the sale, which is 1 plus 1/2 off. And I was like, well, I'm not saving any money if I do that. You're going to have to come at me with a better deal. And so the lady behind me says, the one that thought I was coming at her, she's like, you can use mine. And I was like, oh, thank you. You see? And so people just, because they're used to reacting in a certain way, they mirror that onto other people. And there was a part of her that was ready for me, that wanted to be mirrored back to her. Okay? And that needed to see that. And then I mirrored back to myself the goodness from her. Okay, there's no reason to go against, even if she had busted in line of me, which she hadn't. Even if she had, it would have been fine with me. I'd have been like, it's not worth my well-being to get into some squabble with some woman who is looking for a squabble. I, I am not the squabbling type, okay? I speak my truth. If I felt I needed to say something, I say it. Believe me. I say all the things, and I teach people to speak your truth. But there is a way to speak your truth and not be cruel. And that's the name of the game, right? Because if you're being cruel, you're shitting on yourself. I'm sorry. You're just being awful to yourself. If somebody is being mean to you, just say for a moment, just relax. There's no one to fight with here. Okay, when my kids get mad at me, or and they do. I have 3 teenagers under this roof, and they are, they're coming at me. It's like, I love you, honey, and I love myself way too much to join you. I'm going to show you, and I say these words. God drives me bonkers sometimes. I'm going to show you what it looks like to stay calm in the face of contrast when somebody's coming at you. Watch me. Look at me right now. It is not worth it for me. You're mad about something that I can't control. I can't control your perception of it. I wish I could, but I can't. Okay, you're going to have to grow into that. And you don't care. Like a lot of times I'll just, I'm like, I do care. I care so much. I love and care for you and me so much. That's why I won't fight with you. I won't. This is how I feel. This is what I'm saying. This is how I feel. Here's my truth. You do with it what you want. No skin off my back. I love you. I will always love you. I will always show you the right way. I will always be here to support you. Forever. Right? That's not the issue. But at first it looked like it was an issue, especially to one of my kids who would, I guess all of them. That's not true. All of them. When they get mad and you don't get mad back all of a sudden and you've realized something, how come you don't care? You don't even care. Look, you don't even care. You're not even passionate about it. I'm like, you know how much work is going on in here right now? So much work. All right, you guys, I am going on and on and on and on and on. I really, I know that this was a really good interaction. Yes, watch it in your visualization, Deborah. Absolutely. A really, really good connections energy. There was a lot of good going through. I'm gonna close it up once I turn off the live. I'm gonna do a meditation where probably about 5 minutes that I'm going to close off this interaction. So if you also want to partake in that, I will also be doing a visualization of peace and calm. So if you would like to also do that, the more people that do a meditation together, it's a very powerful. Okay, one person in alignment is more powerful than a trillion out of alignment. So if there are, I don't know how many people are still in here, but however many there are, my Facebook Lives do crazy things, you guys. Numbers come on and off. Comments come and go. I'm going to do this meditation for about 5 minutes after I hang up. So peace and calm. We are much more powerful aligned together. Okay? So have an amazing rest of the day. I have enjoyed this live so much. I cannot even tell you how much I have enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you guys more on social media, and I'll be on. So come and say hi. All right, you guys. Bye.